Okay, so welcome to our introduction to the Humanoid Research Demonstration. This is a league that we have, or we are in the process of newly founding. So we were supposed to have this for the first time for RoboCup 2020. Now I want to talk a bit about what our thought processes behind of this league is, and then also ask you guys for some input and some discussions on this. Okay, so the goal of the the goal of the Humanoid Research Demonstration is to have a place for showcasing the latest research and development results that are relevant for humanoid robots. So this is taken from the call for participation that we made. And the idea is really that there is a focus on showcasing. So it needs to be something that is actually, you're actually able to demo, and it needs to be relevant for humanoid robots. But as you can see here, it does not explicitly say that it needs to be relevant just for playing soccer. So the idea is that this is a bit more on humanoid robots in general. So it's also possible to apply with something that is more relevant for, let's say, the at-home league, if that's related to humanoid robots as well. And then the second part of the call for participation also says that it is independent of whether you're participating in the robotic competition already, the symposium, or even have a RoboCup team. So our thought process behind this was really, first of all, to build a platform that can bring together people who have not a finished product yet, nothing that maybe can be showcased in RoboCup during the games, during the competitions. It might just be like an individual project that is not there yet to be used in the competition, but we still want to give it some room to showcase it. It can be ongoing work. It can very much something that you just want to discuss or just want to show like a new approach. And it can also be something that is not just related to the RoboCup competition as it is right now, but is also supposed to be a bit of a connector to the outside world. Because what we have noticed is that in RoboCup, we tend to be a bit in our own circle, and it's often hard for outside the broader research community to see how this belongs to them, but also how what we are doing then is transferred to things outside the RoboCup community. So the idea is that this is a bit of a bridge to others who have not participated in RoboCup. It could also be an entry if you already have worked on something that is related to humanoid robotics and you're not there yet of showing a full team. This can also be like an entry level to the entire RoboCup. The topics of interest that we have defined are quite broad, as you can see. I'm not going to read out all of them, but you see that there are very, very different ones, from walking, running, or jumping, so very much locomotion focused, to virtual robots and simulation, benchmarking, but even education with and for humanoid robots. So it is both hardware, it is also software, it can be applications. So it's really, really a broad topics of interest that we had to find for this. So what we thought about how this is going to work is that basically we are giving people an adult-sized league field, and if they really require, they also get a screen to show something. But the idea is that the focus is on demonstration. So we don't want to have something that is just being able to showcase or that's just talked about in slides. But of course, if you have a simulation or something, then you're also welcome to show this on the slides. But the idea is that what you're doing, and that's basically all the setup you're getting. If there are specific needs, we are open to see if we can accommodate them, but this is a general setup that we've been thinking about. And then the idea is that during RoboCup, we take, depending on how many teams we get, either one or multiple time blocks where people just gather around that field on the audience, where the audience stands basically. And both the audience, but especially other researchers, can stay there and just watch the demonstrations one after another. Demonstration time is supposed to be fairly short, so it's not supposed to be a super long talk given either. So it's supposed to be just a very quick and rapid following of a couple of demonstrations, one after another on the adult size field, sometime during the competition. We talked quite lengthy about the difference between handing out trophies and certificates. And this was quite difficult because on the one hand, we want to give obviously some incentive for people also to showcase something, to really try something. But as you've noticed, we called it demonstration. We didn't really call it league or competition, and we don't really want to have the focus on the competition part here. So this is really supposed to be a place to exchange ideas, not necessarily to try to compete just for one more trophy. This is why in the end we took the decision to not ask the trustees for a trophy for this, because it would also be really difficult to see how this could be judged. So you would need some form of like jury or public vote. But then again, this might be very difficult to judge between like an already present robot versus something that only works in simulation between different applications. So in the end, we decided there's not really a fair way of voting on this either. And we don't want to really highlight this as a competition, but as a showcasing and exchange of ideas. So we decided in the end to not award a trophy, but have certificates of participation, obviously, to everyone as usually. The application material that we asked for this year was, first of all, as always, some demonstration data. This would be like a name, a title for your demonstration. This would also be where, like, what country you are from. So very similar to the data you have to submit when you're applying to normally participate in a RoboCup League. We also asked for a short demonstration video, so of less than 3 minutes, just to get an idea of this is actually something that's working. Again, we want to highlight this must be something you can also showcase. This is why we are asking for a video demonstration. In case you are using hardware, we also asked for hardware specifications, but this was optional. And then the last part was a short paper, maximum of 4 pages. This might sound short if you're used to the extended abstract of if you're used to the normal TDPs that were 8 pages, but this year we moved to extended abstracts of only 2 pages, so this is already double the amount that you usually get. Just for quickly describing your demonstration and making us understand what you actually want to showcase. The registration is also something that we talked about a lot in the TC. So our idea was to make this possible for people as a low entry level. We want to make this possible to not have like a lot of costs involved. So one thing that we negotiated with the RoboCup Federation is that participation is free if you are already in RoboCup. So no matter which league you're in, the registration to this is going to be free. But if you're a group from outside RoboCup, so you haven't been involved in RoboCup, the trustees did not agree to have a reduced fee just for this. So right now, what their rule is that this must be a regular participation fee. This is something that we struggled with a bit as a decision because, as I said, what you're getting for coming to RoboCup is a very brief time of presentation. And we did not imagine people getting like a whole team space as well. So of course there's going to be a small area to assemble, but this is supposed to be more a shared space, not necessarily everyone having like a big team table. So in terms of what you're getting for the registration, you're getting much less than the normal participants do. So we thought it's actually fair if they don't have a regular participation fee, but maybe something like a symposium fee. But this was not agreed to. So right now, as it looks, or how it would have been for 2020, it would have been a regular participation fee. So for 2020, we had 2 submissions that were accepted, 3 submissions in total. 1 was rejected and 2 got accepted. And you see here, it is 2 very different applications that we got. So one is something that has a humanoid robot, but it is about, as you can see here, about grasping. So something that is not related to what we are doing in the soccer league of right now. And then we have a team that is already, and this is also a group from outside of at least our league. And then we have Cinco Hefestos who applied as well. Who they are already competing in our league, and they showed like a balancing demo basically. Those are 2 that we did accept. So we were actually quite delighted that we got 2 submissions. This was especially in the negotiation with the trustees, a quite lengthy process. So when we were able to send out the call for participation, this was already quite late. So we were quite delighted that we got 2 applications, but that's not a lot. So what I want to know, so this actually ends my brief input presentation. And what I want to ask you guys is, so first of all, do you have any input on our thought process, on the organization, on anything that I've presented in terms of how it's going to work, the call for participation, anything like this? But also what I would like to discuss a bit is, how can we make this attractive for people to come from different leagues that have something to do with humanoid robotics, but also for people outside RoboCup? How can we advertise this? But also, how can we really make this relevant for people and like a good place to showcase our demos?